friends, welcome back to my channel if you're returning, and if this is the first video of mine that you're catching, welcome. My name is Rachel and I'm a reseller on sites like eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. But today I'm actually going to talk about something new that I tried with the consignment thrift service called Thredup. I actually ordered a premium, well really two premium consignment bags a few months ago as a little experiment because it's something new that they started offering. And now that it's had the time to cycle through and I've sold off the items, I wanted to show you kind of how it works and what my results are. So if you want to see how I did with this one, definitely stick around. So I've been using Thredup for, oh my gosh, years, probably 4 or 5 years at least, to send in items to consign with them to sell. I've always done it though with stuff that I really don't care about. So I use it for when I buy mystery boxes, if I think there's things that aren't necessarily worth me listing individually, but you know, they're brands that Thredup accepts, or maybe things that are just stale in my closet that I'm ready to just move on to somewhere else. It's a lot easier than taking to buy, sell, trade because you just put it in a box and ship it off. But, you know, there's pros and cons because there's a chance they don't even list it or it doesn't sell or whatever. So I made a whole video on that a few months ago. It's been a while, but the video is largely still relevant to how I use Thredup for most things. I'll link that down below. But today I want to talk about their premium consignment service. I did try this for the first time a few months ago. So if you like reseller content, certainly consider subscribing to my channel. I do a lot of unboxing videos because I do a lot of online sourcing for my businesses. I always follow up those videos with 90-day updates so you can see how I actually did with the merchandise I purchased. Hit that like button too, if you could. That definitely helps out the channel. And let me know if you've used their premium consignment service. I would definitely love to know. And I'll link it down below if you're brand new to Thredup and you want to give it a try. If you don't already have an account, you can set one up and then, you know, get a consignment bag or box for yourself. The reason this was intriguing to me, now I don't sell a lot of premium stuff. And I certainly, like I said, in the past, I haven't really sent premium items to Thredup. I don't necessarily trust them with my good stuff. You know what I mean? I would send them things that I otherwise would probably just donate. But I'll link this video down below too. If you've been watching my channel, you may remember this, but if not, here's the Cliff Notes. I purchased a bunch of Rent the Runway retirees. I spent quite a bit of money. I invested a lot into it. And it was a total dumpster fire. None of it was selling for me. It was very expensive, as far as cost of goods. And I lost a lot of money. I took a big loss on those boxes. And at the end of 6 months, it was still kind of all sitting here. And so Thredup had just introduced this premium consignment service. And I thought, what the heck? This is already a loss. I've already wrote this off as a loss. If I make nothing, it's better than it all sitting here in my inventory, taking up space and not getting any attention. It's more work for me at this point, and it's probably more valuable for me to get rid of it because it was so much and it wasn't moving. So anyway, I decided, you know what? I don't have anything really to lose, which is kind of how I use the service anyway. Although this stuff was higher end brands, brand names that they would consider premium services. So I thought it would be a good idea to give it a try just to see how it compares to regular Thredup boxes, which in the past, when I buy or when I send in regular Thredup boxes, I don't expect miracles. I make a little bit of money. Usually it's enough for me to cash it in and get a rescue box. It's nothing crazy. So this was a little bit of a different experiment for me. And I sent this stuff in September of 2024. And it ran its course and everything either sold or expired by the end of December. So now I can show you completely end to end what it looked like. first and foremost, when you go on, and I'll put it here on the side, when you go on to choose how to sell, you get the option of the standard versus the premium box. So the standard box is the $14.99. They accept 60 to 80% of the items. They process within 3 to 4 weeks, and they're listed for 30 to 45 days. This is also the one where you, and you'll see this on the next screenshot, but if you want your items back, you have to pay a fee. If not, they just automatically recycle anything they don't accept. And they can discount it as much as they want, and you really don't have control over how deeply discounted it gets or how low the sale price goes. Versus the premium, which is a $34.99 fee, sort of, which I'll talk about in a second. They do accept 90 to 100% of the items, and their processing time, they do prioritize these with a processing time of 2 weeks, and your items are listed 60 to 90 days. So they're listed much longer than the traditional, just regular standard boxes. And the buyer discount is capped at 20%. So whatever price you set it at, you're not going to go lower than 20% of that. So it sort of saves you from, getting way less for an item than you would have wanted. Now, I want to point this out at the top because I didn't do it this way, but I want you to know that you theoretically could. It says if you're selling at least a few upscale brands, you can earn more with premium. So my boxes, I actually sent in 2 because I had so much stuff. It was more than 30 pounds. I had to split it into 2 boxes. But this says that you can mix, technically, at least that's what I'm gathering from this. You can mix standard brands and premium brands. So if you're okay with paying that $34.99 for the, for the premium kit, it doesn't necessarily all have to be premium brands in there. As long as there are some, they will accept it as a premium brand. And in return, you're also going to get the faster processing time, the 20% discount cap, and the higher listing window. So just something to think about. And actually, when I do this again, I probably am going to try to throw in just some other stuff, just because it's going to be a long time for me to accumulate 30 pounds worth of premium brands again. So I'll probably try to do a little mix and see if that, changes my outcome, or if it seems better to do it that way versus just splitting it between a standard kit and a premium. Okay, so once you decide you want your premium kit, you have to decide how to ship your items. This is a little bit different than the standard kit because you can either ask them to send you a bag or use your own box. With the standard kit, I believe, if you ask for a bag, you have to pay for the bag. It's not free. Where this one, if you want the bag, they will send you the bag. It says it's included, and you can use your own box as well, which is also included. Now, that's the same as the standard, but you do have the option to get the bag, I guess, if you wanted that instead. It's not extra. It doesn't cost extra. And then here's the other thing, which I think this might have changed since I did it initially, but this is really good to know. So that $34.99 includes a $10.99 fee to send you your items back. So if you choose the standard kit, they assume you don't want it back if it doesn't get accepted. Or you can pay $10.99 to automatically get your stuff back that's not accepted. With this one, the $34.99 assumes that you do want the stuff back that is not accepted. And if you don't, you can say, I don't want it back. And then it takes $10.99 off the cost of your premium label, making it $24 instead of $34.99. So that's something good to know. When I did mine, they did send it back to me. I think it was automatic, unless I missed this. I do think that they just automatically sent me back what they didn't list, which was not a lot, actually. That 90% I think was pretty accurate. I think out of both boxes, I got back maybe 3 or 4 items. It was not a lot. They did accept and list pretty much everything that I sent them. So I would have probably, the stuff that they did send back to me, I probably would have been mad that I paid $10.99 to have it sent back, if I'm being honest. But either way, you do get the choice on this one as well, versus the regular kit. So from there, you basically send it in the same way that you would send in a standard kit. You take it to UPS, at least for me. They used to take it through the post office. Now I have to take it to UPS, which is fine. And then it processes just like a regular kit would. And you do get the option to set your prices and all of that before it goes live. So that is the same standard versus premium as far as I can tell. So I want to show you kind of what my payouts were after the 2 boxes have had the chance to process, just so you can see and get an idea of like what did sell and how much it sold for. And then like, I'll talk a little bit at the end about, you know, what I liked about it and maybe some things I would do differently if I sent in another one. So I'm going to share my screen and show you the kit that I sent in. Well, the 2 kits that I sent in a few months ago so you can see. Okay, so here's my kits. And if we scroll down, yes, I've had a lot of kits processed. Here are the 2 premium label kits that I had processed. So first and foremost, the thing I would do differently here, this was processed on 9/29 and 9/25. So I sent these in probably at the beginning of September, which put my 90 days like on Christmas Day. And so I might have done that a little bit differently timing wise. I guess I didn't really think about it. But nobody was shopping like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day on Thredup for this stuff. So a lot of times I lower the prices drastically the last couple days, and a lot of it gets like picked off because it's so cheap. And that did not happen this time. So here's the 2. You can see my final payouts on this one was $243.81 and this one was $141.05. Not super awesome, but again, this was all stuff that was just sitting that I like had already wrote off as a loss. So here is the first box. The earn to date $278.81, my fees $35. My total earnings, which are all completely paid out. This box is completely closed out. So I earned $243.81 on this Thredup box, sold 16 items and 14 items expired. So about half, which again, for stuff that was sitting in my inventory for 6+ months with no attention, that's really not that bad, honestly. And that's $243.81 I was able to recover from this hot mess of a rent the runway situation. So anyway, here is what has sold. And so some of these, I do start lowering the prices when it gets down to like 10 days, 7 days, because I would rather get $1.89 than absolutely nothing. So that's what happened here. These, when they were listed, originally were listed much higher. And as with the standard kit, you get the option to go in and edit the price. And so my Thredup strategy is kind of similar to my like Poshmark strategy, I guess. I go in occasionally as the time passes and I start lowering the price, hoping to, you know, grab a buyer. As sometimes they price the items like really, really high, and it's just kind of, people like the items waiting for the prices to drop or for them to go on sale. So I did do some price dropping on these, and you can see that some of them sold for much less. And others, like this one here, my earnings was $22.01, sold for $54.20, and I earned 40%. So with Thredup, the higher the item sells for, the higher percentage of commission you get off the item. For example, this one sold for $14, so I only got 13%, which is that $189. This one sold for $72. And, you know, sometimes it varies by brand. It must, because yeah, so kind of just depends on what you send into them. I had so many of these Laquan Smith dresses, and so $74 on that one. I mean, when I had these on Poshmark, I had them down to like 20 bucks and no one was buying them. So for that to sell for $74 on Thredup is actually pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. So some of these payouts I think are really good. This was a maternity dress. These Nicholas dresses I had a bunch of. And then here's what expired. So the thing about the expired items, and another thing I probably would do differently next time, you do have to pay to reclaim each individual item. I think it's $5.99. I say I think because I've never actually reclaimed a darn thing off of Thredup. If it expires, it expires. I'm not paying $5.99 per item to get back something that I didn't want in the first place, or I was done with in the first place. So in hindsight, I think I would be a little bit more careful about seasonality, because a lot of this stuff that is still that expired is like summery. So this was a linen dress. I know that. I've got some tank tops, like some one shoulder tops. That's a sundress. I had so many of these. It is what it is. So a lot of it, I think, was maybe seasonality played into it a little bit. So I think, like, if I did this again, which I don't want another Rent the Runway disaster, so hopefully I don't have the opportunity to do exactly this again, but I would probably be a little bit more cognizant of seasonality on this one. And you can see that, yeah, like a lot of these expired on 12/31, 12/30. So like right during the holidays, where even when I lowered the price, people kind of weren't shopping anyway. So that is what it is. But again, $243.81 for a box of stuff that I really I wasn't selling. I couldn't get rid of it anyway. For experimental purposes, that was actually really nice. And I made enough money that I was able to cash it out. As you can see right now, I only have $28 in credit, which what I've always used Thredup for in the past is to like get enough credits to buy a DIY denim box or something. And then I just buy something, and I've never really cashed it out. So here's the other one real quick. I'll show you. This one I earned $141.05 after the fees, sold 12, expired 17. So about the same performance. Didn't make quite as much money on this one. Some of these sold for a little bit less, but again, not bad at all. The processing was a lot faster. And some of these, like $66.94 for this one. Somebody paid $102 for this dress. That's awesome. And overall, I mean, I'm happy with it. I ordered another label, so I'm going to try to send in like a half and half box and see how that goes. Just to see if it's really worth it to put a few premium brands into one box with some other stuff, just to get the faster processing and the cap on the sale price. I do like being a little bit more in control of how much money something is charged for, but I lower the price myself. So I think for me, that's a control thing. That's totally based on personal preference. So you'll have to let me know in the comments if you've tried the premium service. I would definitely love to know. This was my first time doing it. And I guess I would love to just kind of open up the floor. If you have tips or something you found worked for you, if you've done this, let me know. I'm always looking to get more out of Thredup, but I'm like scared to lose money. That's why I don't send them things that I like actually want or think are valuable, at least right now. And I haven't in a long time. So if you are somebody that uses this consignment service, the premium consignment service, let me know your tips. Share with me down below how it's gone for you. I would love to hear kind of what everybody else is doing and how they're using Thredup. I hope you found this helpful. I hope that if you do decide to send some stuff into Thredup, that it works out well for you. And make sure you subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I love doing these kind of one-off strategy type videos in the mix with my unboxings and what sold videos and all that. I mean, I guess this is kind of a what sold video. And yeah, hit that like button on the way out. That certainly helps out the channel as well. That is it for today, friends, though. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.